Top of the top, off your back and on your feet. Time to have some real talk, ain't no time to sleep. It's your boy Big Mac from Bonafide. America, God is not pleased. God is not pleased. And I speak to America because internationally, no one even cares about whether you're a black American. I mean, they're just starting to care. But our enemies, they don't care. They're not making a difference. They're not, when they come into America, because the sad part is that whether you're a black American, white American, or whatever type of American you want to be, we have all espoused American ideals and certain pathos from America. So they don't care that, oh, he's black. No, when the enemy comes to destroy this place, everybody gone. So I have a duty and obligation to speak to my country. With that being said, before I speak to that, I want to clarify and define some terms, because proper communication cannot be had unless we are on the same page. So many people get caught up in words because there are different definitions. One of the greatest modern inventions of all time is the dictionary, because it helps you and I to have a common definition of a word, so that when we have common definition of words, then we can properly or effectively communicate. Understand that communication is not just talking. Talking is a form of communication. Communication is had or achieved when I have effectively disseminated my ideas and thoughts to you so that you can understand, not agree, so that you can understand. And I believe I've done my best to, as far as my page goes, provide a place where people can disagree respectfully. And I thank you to my followers, to my listeners, to my supporters, those who chime in from time to time, for being respectful to those who have opposing views. I don't see too much name calling. Now, when I go in these other groups, I'm all types of this, that, and the third. If I say anything pro-black, I'm automatically BLM. Let me explain something to you guys. I do not support the BLM, because the BLM, the movement, I support the sentiment Black Lives Matter because I am a black man. I don't want no white life to matter before mine does. And I'm not saying white lives don't matter. I'm saying that black lives matter the most to me. White lives should matter the most to a white man. I don't expect my black life to matter more to you than it does to you, more to you than your own life matters. That's just plain retarded. Anyway, you get called all these names. Interestingly enough, I put up a post last night that says that it's not blacks versus whites, it's blacks versus racism. Don't get it confused. And I put it in a few groups. It was a social experiment of sorts. And in the predominantly white groups, it was met with hate, vitriol, and aggressiveness. When I put it in the black groups, nobody said, nah, fuck all white people. I'm gonna speak to you real, because this is how we talk, right? Nobody said that. You know why? Because the black man understands, yo, not all white people are bad, yo. Now, there are some amongst us that's like, oh, the white man is the devil. Screw him, he could go to hell. But not all of us feel that way. So there were a bunch of hearts, thumbs up, and all that, because everybody like, yeah, I wish they would understand that. And that's why I'm talking to you, America, because you got it confused. And you're coming at us a little crazy, as if you're not watching the same shy show that we watching. So I want to define a few terms. I want to define racism. But first, I got to tell you where racism came from. Racism is a social construct. Break down the word social construct if you don't know what it means. Social, society, construct, to build. Racism is something established by the society. It means it's been used in society for so long that is what we have come to live by. Social construct of racism was erected in the 1400s by a man named Pope Innocent. Yes, by the church, Pope Innocent III to be exact. Before then, you could only be enslaved for 3 reasons: whether you had to be a booty of war, a criminal, or personal indebtedness. Before that, the only way to be a slave was a booty of war, criminal, or personal indebtedness. After 1400, when the 9 European nations set out and said, we are going to take over the continent of Africa, as if there weren't people already living there, because it possesses the most natural resources on the planet Earth, they said, you know what? They brought some black people back from Africa, brought them up to Europe, realized how strong they were, how smart. Well, they already knew how smart we were. I mean, we created, hold on, let me pause right here. We created mathematics. Your 2 + 2? Yeah, we taught you that. We created reading, literature. The first, wait. Where did you get the word paper from? Come on, somebody. Y'all know that thing come from papyrus. We created that. We created the first seafaring ship. Google it. Pharaoh Narmer. It's called the Solar Barge. Vikings wasn't the first ones to sail the high seas. We were. Why? Y'all fearing a black world? Guess what? The world is black because the world started off in Africa. You can debate it. You probably will. And that is why I say, America, God is not pleased. So, with constructing that now they could enslave people by the color of their skin. They don't have to know nothing about him. He doesn't have to be a criminal. Color of their skin. 9 European nations said they're going to carve up Africa. And it was at this was when they found America. It was a race, a contest to avoid last place. That is all racism is. A contest to avoid last place. I'm making it plain, simple English. See, I've heard so many definitions of it. Racism is a contest to avoid last place. And the only people who can practice racism is the dominant society. Who's the dominant society in our country? Okay. So we can stop there, okay? So racism is a contest to avoid last place. Now I hear so many people say, why don't you pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Why don't you bring yourself up? Let me tell you something. And I want to pause right here again. I'm not a victim. I want to let you know I am not a victim. My life is beautiful. I am not complaining about my life as one man. However, I am a part of a whole. I'm not just out here for me. There was a point in time when I was just like, I got to get it for me. But now I realize what I never realized before. Everybody else is playing a generational game. You have tricked us into believing that we all have to be out for ourselves. This is why my young black men are killing each other. Because they have not been taught the continuity of their heritage. They have not been taught the thread that binds us together. They have been taught that they are different from one another because one is from this place and one is from another place. Oh, how did we get that? Okay, we're going to get there in a minute. So, with racism coming into place, being a contest to avoid last place, who's been at last place in this country since the social construct of racism has been established? I ain't even got to say it, bruh. And ever since 1865, it has been an effort to get us back onto the plantation and to keep us there. I want y'all to understand today the struggle is not about slavery. We're not mad about slavery. We are mad about slavery, forgive me. But that's not the thorn in our side. The thorn in our side is the continued and concerted effort to keep us in last place. Y'all say racism is a... Go look in the Bible. God never used the word racism. Even in the bastardized King James Version. Yes, I said bastardized, because the oldest church in the world is the Ethiopian church. Y'all know about the Ethiopian eunuch that was baptized by Philip during the days when there was no cross, when they only had a fish hanging around their neck, and they walked up to each other and they said, "You in the way?" You know what "in the way" means? That means, are you in the way of the master, the way, the truth, and the life? Are you in the way of Christ? Do you follow him? And that man was riding around in his chariot, and he was reading the scriptures, reading Isaiah, and he said, "Who is this talking about?" And Philip said, "Let's talk about Jesus Christ. He was just crucified, and he rose up after 3 days. And 50 days later, he came, and the Holy Ghost just touched us." And he said, "How can I come to know this Jesus?" And he got baptized in the name of the Son. You understand? He got baptized that day. And no doubt he took that religion back. Haile Selassie, Ras Tafari. That wasn't who that was. I'm just saying he's a direct descendant of these men. So check your Bible, or check the original Greek, Aramaic, and Hebrew text. It'll show you race was never in there. But you revamped the Bible to make it fit your objectives. So anyway, you're telling us to pull ourselves up. You're telling us, why are we so angry? Why are we so mad? We could talk about slavery. We could. We could talk about how the 13th Amendment says that slavery is illegal, except I thought slavery was destroyed for a moral reason. So how is an immoral thing unacceptable unless? So you're telling me that rape, because it's immoral, rape is unacceptable unless. Hold up. I'm gonna touch it. Abortion is unacceptable unless. These are the things that you are telling me. That something that we have deemed as a society to be immoral is unacceptable unless they have been found guilty of a crime. Read the 13th Amendment. Many of you have not. You think you read it, but you did not. So after they ratified that and paid the slave owners for loss of property $300 per slave, y'all want to talk about we ain't supposed to get no reparations? White people got it. Anyway. So they made these laws called peonage laws to get us back onto the plantation. Now I want to fast forward that. I'm going to skip over how y'all killed every leader that we had. I'm going to skip over the 8 to, I believe it was between 8 and 12, some of them probably were undocumented, flourishing black communities that had black-owned everything. They didn't hate on the white people, they just had their own stuff. And this is why I tell y'all, black love don't equal white hate. I've seen it in the history books. I practice it. I love myself, but I don't hate you. I love you too, but I love me above all else. Second to none, baby. About 8 to 12 communities burned to the ground. Do your research. Springfield, Illinois. World famed Tulsa, Oklahoma. Rosewood, Florida. Got a few out there in North Carolina, South Carolina. Look where they put the freeways at, running right through what used to be prominent black neighborhoods. You want to talk about pull yourself up by the bootstraps? We've done that, and every time we've done it, you sabotaged us. So don't keep telling us to pull ourselves up by the bootstrap, because y'all ain't trying to let us up. Again, this is not to all whites. This is to you whites who feel like in the racial climate, in the race to avoid last place, that black people should always be in that last place. I'm talking to you. Because you are the same people that will say, well, why can't they just pull themselves up? Why can't they get off of welfare? That was somehow you thought that welfare was created for black people. Welfare was created for white people during the Great Depression. It had nothing to do with caring about black people. But I digress. I'm gonna skip over all of that. And I'm just going to go to 1986 because that's my existence. I said this in a post the other day, but I'm explaining to y'all because I don't know if y'all got it. Now we're going back from the 13th Amendment. Slavery is illegal except, and we're going up to 1986 when what? During the Iran-Contras, an illegal war fought by the American government. Illegal. Why do I say it's illegal? Because Congress voted that they were not getting involved in that conflict down there in Nicaragua. The government there were certain politicians. Bush Sr., where you at? Huh? Nixon. Reagan. Ollie North. Certain politicians that had personal agendas, they said, no, we're getting into it. Do you know where they got the money to fund the war? Some of y'all didn't know this. They put the crack in the black community. Oh, he's lying. Go check the Library of Congress. In the 2000s, I believe it's in the 2000s, they just admitted to this. They just admitted to putting crack cocaine in the black community to fund the war in Nicaragua. Do you know why crack cocaine became such a problem? It became such a problem because white Americans started smoking it. As long as it was contained to the black community, they had no problem with it. But when white Americans got their hands on it, it's a problem. So they started the quote-unquote so-called war on drugs. Just say no. DARE. Drug addiction. I forget what the R stands for. Education. DARE program with the Lion. Officer Steve Olympio. Everybody in Patterson know Officer Steve Olympio because he was the Patterson DARE officer. 1994, Joe Biden. This is why I'm not voting for him. Because he was with the shenanigans. 1994, he writes a crime bill. Puts away unprecedented. Do y'all know what unprecedented means? It means never before. Puts away unprecedented numbers of African Americans at extreme sentencing rates. I'm talking about life. 5 years for every gram of crack cocaine. That means if you get caught with 5 grams, you got 25 years in prison. There are brothers and sisters in prison today suffering from that law. Obama could have brought him home. If Joe felt so sorry, he could have said, Obama, how about we free those slaves? Why are you calling them slaves, Matt? Because the 13th Amendment says that when they get convicted of a crime, they are a slave. But y'all like to act like this is some isolated incident while we don't have fathers in our home. It is because of the racist establishment. This is why we're mad. Because at every turn, every testament, every time we tried to rise up, y'all sabotaged us. And at any point in time, some of your new tricks don't work. You got 5 that you can always fall back on. But right now, I'm just talking about the mass incarceration because that's what's plagued my community since my existence came about in 1986. Ain't that some bullshit? But y'all want to talk about black people. You've had all these opportunities. What, because LeBron rich? Because we had a black president who didn't do nothing for us but did something for every other person and went over to people in our continent and killed them? We supposed to be happy? We're supposed to be happy that you solved or pseudo-solved a problem that you created? Come on, man. Come on, man. You wouldn't even accept that, people. That's like me stealing your money and helping you look for it. That's like me stealing your car and helping you look for it. Am I hurting you or helping you doing that? So don't expect us to say thank you, because we not. I'm not saying thank you, just like you ain't saying sorry. I don't expect you to say sorry. Don't expect me to say thank you. Because the problems that we have, and stop talking this, stop appropriating our struggle, bruh. You not like us. Irish people, Italian people, Y'all did not go. Stop saying y'all went through what we went through. Y'all ain't go through what we went through, bruh. Y'all weren't kidnapped from y'all land, y'all religion, y'all language, your clothing, your whole culture, existence, what identified you as a person was not stripped from you. You still, Irishmen, you still know you were from Ireland. We don't know where the hell we come from. We grasping at straws looking for an identity. Because one thing that has been confirmed in this country is that nobody except the Native Americans were from this country. So who the hell are we? We don't know. So we establish ourselves by gang names, organizations. Oh, I understand all of this. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. I want you to understand it. I want you to stop talking to my people like what they're going through is such an anomaly. Like you don't know that these things have been strategically placed on us. Stop talking to us like that. Stop acting like y'all ain't had nothing to do with this. Oh, well, I wasn't in the White House when they put crack in the community. Oh, my parents were on crack too. Listen, you were a casualty that was not, bruh, you were not an intended target. You lived in a black neighborhood, you hung out in a black neighborhood, you went to a black school, so you became hooked, but you weren't an intended target. This is documented. The intended target was the black community. They intentionally killed Malcolm X. These things are documented. That you want to blame Farrakhan? I'm not absolving him and I'm not convicting him, but I do know it's documented that the government said, listen, we got to get him out of here. It's documented that the government said we got to get Martin Luther King, who y'all love to quote, out of here. It's documented that they said they got to get Huey P. out of here. And in 20, 30 years, it might be documented that they said they got to get Nip out of here. And it might be documented that they say they're going to get me out of here. Why? Because I'm not standing for this nonsense, even though I have a beautiful life and I have pulled myself up by the bootstraps. And this is why I get mad at my people, because they act like they don't know that they got an enemy out there that does not care about them. And they still keep marching and asking y'all to give them stuff. I don't want nothing from you, bruh. Because everything that I get from America, it comes with strings attached. I understand that racism is a contest to avoid last place. Let me compete. And I'm going to show you who's dominant. Don't pull up at the truck stop and pull the pin on my truck. Don't do no sucker stuff like that. Don't pull up at the truck stop and take the cap off my fuel tank so I could waste more fuel. No. Just compete. But what I tell my people, I remember that line in Remember the Titans, when they realized that the game was fixed and the referees wasn't playing fair. You know what Coach Yo said? The white coach? He said, defense on me. Make them remember the night that they played the Titans. I don't want them to gain another inch. That's my mentality. So when you watch this video, don't think that Big Mac from Bonafide is on some victim stuff. I just understand my struggle, and I understand what I had to struggle against to get where I'm at. And guess where I'm at? I'm only at the starting line. I haven't done something so great to be clapped for. I have not done something that's an anomaly. I've only done what the average American has done. I ain't done nothing exceptional yet, bro. So stop telling me how good of a life I got. Because if I would have started out where I'm at now, Lord knows where I would have been. If there would have been more fathers in my community not strung out on crack or serving life in prison, Lord knows where I would have been. Stop telling us that this is our problem that we created. You did this to us. And now you mad because we ain't taking it no more. You can pull out all your facts. You can pull out all your research. You can say what you want. But mark my words. They that worship the Most High must worship Him in spirit and in truth. And until you start telling the truth, our country will continue to decline. I don't care what type of pseudo bounce back we have in the economy. I don't care what type of pseudo relationship with progress we make. Until we start to worship God in spirit and in truth, we will continue to decline. Yes, this is a condemnation of racist America, not white America. A condemnation of racist America, not white America. I had a sister say to me the other day, she said, racism could not have existed without the complicity of everybody that's on this planet right now. Racism could not have existed and be so intense right now without everybody that's on this planet being complicit. Why? Because somebody laughed at a racist joke. I'm talking about black people and white people. Somebody didn't stand up when they saw supremacy being exuded. See, y'all got it twisted. Y'all want to talk about reverse racism. Black people are reactors. How come when we watch a movie like the one with J-Lo in it, and she's getting beaten and abused by her husband, and then all of a sudden she stands up and she says, oh, that's the name of the movie, Enough. How come we cheer for her, but when black people say enough, y'all like, oh, they're racist? Are we racist or we just upset? Are we racist or we just angry? Are we racist or we just had enough? Are we racist or are we just done being told that we're not anything other than what you tell us we can be? Are we racist or we just fed up? I understand that there's a faction in this country that is fearful because everything in their mind, everything that they worked hard for, all of the wealth, it will be transferred. Guess who it's going to be transferred to? I don't know what the little mixed baby name is. I don't know mixed baby names. But guess what? White men are starting to sleep with black women. Black women, white girls are starting to sleep with white men, with black men. So in 10, 15 years, guess what? There's going to be no more racism, which means there's going to be no more white supremacy. You know why? Because that little mixed baby, that's your grandson, guess what? He's not going to be able to find it in himself to discriminate against his father. He's not going to be able to find it in himself to discriminate against the woman that fed him milk, even though she was black, even though she was white. He's not going to be able to be like, oh, I'm supposed to hate her. I'm supposed to hate. All he's going to know is the two people that showed him love were black and white, Asian and brown. And it's going to be a mixed world, and you have made your existence based upon supreme racist ideology, and it's over with. Now, those of us from this generation, we cannot continue to espouse this. That is the greatest crime of good white people, is being too fearful of standing out, of going against the status quo to say something when you see something. You feel it in your heart. You feel that righteous indignation burning, but you won't say nothing. That is my charge to my white brothers and sisters, and you know who you are. I got a gang of white family members. And guess what? Not once when I put up a post or not once have I ever heard him. I just told my brother this today. Not once have I ever heard him say, well, I'm not racist. You know why he doesn't have to say he's not racist? Because it shows. I've seen Mr. Kelly get on whites just as much as I've seen him get on blacks. And I ain't never heard him act like these problems that the black community today are facing just happened upon us. I've never heard this from him. My sister and brother, Mr. Maeva, I'm calling them by their last name. I don't want y'all, you know. Now that's a little bit more identifying, right? I'm sorry, guys, but y'all my family, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I've never heard them defend. I've never heard them, because their actions. Brother Pete B, I want you to know I'm talking about you. I've never heard him have to defend these things. You know why he hasn't had to defend him? Because it's in his actions. And he stands up loudly, boldly against the tyranny, against the lies that are propagated. Somebody said to me the other day, stop the propaganda. Do you understand that the education system in the 19th century was nothing but propaganda in America? It was used to reinforce the fact that black people are in fact last place on this planet. Even some of our education systems now. Don't talk to me about no propaganda. Propaganda is the most powerful tool in war. And we are at war, ladies and gentlemen, with a racist ideology, not with a skin color. Riddle me this, Batman. Where do white people come from? They come from white land? Riddle me this, Batman. Where do black people come from? They come from black land? No. There's melanated people all over the globe. White people all over the globe. White and black don't exist. It's about where you're from. I'm an American. However, I'm not proud of us right now because God is not pleased. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So I'm going to close with this. America, for the last 600 plus years, I'm talking to you, white America, I want you to get this. For the last 600 plus years, there's been a social experiment. And you know in a lab, the species that they most likely will test something that is meant for humans on is monkeys. Well, they've been testing out on the DK monkeys for the last 600 plus years. And the Zuckerbergs, George Soros, Queen Elizabeth, Bloomberg, all of these trillionaires and billionaires, they have done their social experiment on black people. Oh, y'all didn't know that's why they placed us in places called housing projects? Because that was the lab. That was the place where they were putting together their plan for world domination, because they realized it wasn't about skin color. It was about ideology. It was about whether you believed what I believed, or whether your belief could coexist with my belief, even if they were conflicting. So these are the people that are behind. I know y'all find it far-fetched to think that they could be in such collusion that they could construct a pandemic that could kill people. But your boy Bill Gates said he take 15% of the population off and we might be all right. Margaret Sanger, I think her name is. I call her Marge. Planned Parenthood put that thing in the middle of the black community. Vehement white supremacist. But I'm off the white supremacy now, because see, it's bigger than that. White people, I want y'all to go watch. Black people, I want y'all to go watch The Planet of the Apes. Some of y'all caught it, but y'all didn't think it was so deep. I want y'all to see what happened when the apes rose up and started talking. Where did they feel like they went wrong? You know where they went wrong? When they taught Caesar how to talk. When they taught Caesar how to talk, ooh, they messed up. I'm telling you, you messed up. Racist America, not white America. White America, they coming for you next. I need you to understand that. They are coming for you next. For the last 600 years, they've done this social experiment on black people. And they have got their strategy so down packed that unless there is a revolt, we'll all be enslaved. Thank you guys for listening. I hope y'all watched till the end of the video. I want you to go watch that Planet of the Apes and see what happened when Caesar and them came to the knowledge of their self. White people. See, I'm just going to start calling white people the good white people. They just white people. And the racists, I'm going to start just turning to you as racist. So when I say white people, I'm talking to the white people who are not racist. White people, stand up. Stand up. That's when it's really going to change. That is when they're going to listen. I'm not talking about these George Soros paid protesters out there marching with the BLM signs. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about you grassroots white people. See, because those George Soros supporters, those BLM supporters, they got some other stuff going on with them too. Black people, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. But I say to you, white America, you are a very valuable ally, but you cannot continue in silence. You must stand loudly and boldly. Brother Steve, Mary, Terry, I appreciate you guys and so many other, Jamie, Danielle, Gerald. I appreciate you guys. And I'm leaving some white folks out because I don't want to go down. It's too many to number. And that's just my personal life. But then there's some other white people that's just phenomenal that I don't even know. But then there are those of you, and contrary to popular belief, they're a very small fraction. They're not even like as dominant or as big as they think they are. He told them, he said, yo, look up and look around you. Say he looked around him. He was in the valley. Say he looked around him and he seen all these angels on chariots. And there was fire. They had their swords. And he said, whoa. His legs started shaking. He said, whoa, there are more of them there are more that be with us than they with them. And I'm telling you, racists, your day is up, man. I understand you're scared. You can repent now or remain in your place and become irrelevant. But it's over. And no, it's not going to be a black planet, even though it is, because everybody comes from the black man. But we ain't trying to turn the whole planet black. We just want the whole planet to be able, first of all, the earth is his and all that dwell therein. But God gave it to all of us, not just you. And we're done with that. Now, some of the stuff you brought to us, we're going to keep. Like, free market, we keeping that. I want to keep it. I ain't with the, listen, bro, I work hard, I deserve more. Point blank, period. But that I'm discriminated against because of my color of my skin, and you're discriminated against because of the color of your skin, we ain't going in for that from now.